In this video, I want to talk about the insidious nature of self-loathing, how to actually be kind to yourself, and what it looks like to silence your inner critic. I think of this practice as a spectrum. Over here, we have self-loathing, and that can move into self-tolerance, and then self-like, and then self-love. How you move along the spectrum, I think, is twofold: your thoughts and beliefs, and your actions and behaviors. And this tends to be cyclical in nature. The thoughts and beliefs that you have about yourself, your self-concept, will prompt you to act and behave in certain ways and filter out other information that would even tell you otherwise. And then those actions and behaviors confirm the ideas that you already have. And on and on and on it goes. So we have to break the cycle of negative habits, and that is not easy. One, we're going against our biology. We're literally wired to spot and look for the things that are going to harm us. Evolutionarily, that just makes sense. It's way more helpful for a species to recognize when it's in danger for its survival than it is to feel the pleasure of resting in the sun. We have to remember that at the end of the day, we are animals and we're not as rational as we think. One thing that I have realized when people are trying to move along the spectrum is there is this voice of shame. And I like to name the voice and personify the voice. And for me, that person's name is Chad. Chad is just this mid-level intelligence. His looks are mid, his physique is mid, his face is mid, his style is mid, everything about him is just mid. And if I think about the voice who critiques me as just some mid guy named Chad, I'm like, please sit down. I don't want to listen to him. I want him to shut the up. And I've trained myself to think of my inner critic as that person. So let's tackle thoughts and beliefs. Noticing how you speak about yourself casually in conversation as well as privately can be actually shocking. Even saying something like, oh my God, I'm so dumb, or I'm so stupid, might seem harmless, but really that's indicative of a belief. And if you could say it so casually out loud in front of other people, what are you really saying behind closed doors? Typically, what you can easily say in front of other people is insight into how strong your inner critic is. And of course, we usually learn this from our caretakers, both from their example, how they talk to themselves, how they talk about themselves, and how they treat us. And just because you didn't throw yourself in the river doesn't mean that it's not your responsibility to get yourself out. And you actually can change. And the sense of accomplishment you feel, and you learn to like yourself, to enjoy yourself, to break that pattern, because that's really all it is. It's a repetition. It's something that you're doing on repeat. It's programming. There's a level of feeling so unstoppable and so in your power. That is a big benefit of being someone who takes on all of the pain of the generations and transforms it and changes the direction of their bloodline forever. And there still is this undercurrent in culture that is pretty adverse to confidence, specifically with women. Women have been trained pretty much since birth to center everybody else, and women are praised for putting themselves last. Oh, she's so self-sacrificial. So societally, we're rewarded by being someone who isn't self-centered. So just know that there will be pushback, both internally and externally. But once you decide that you want to change the narrative, I think the first step is to just stop speaking poorly about yourself out loud. You have to think of yourself like a dog. If there's a behavior that you want to change, then you have to correct it immediately. And you have to celebrate when you don't do that thing. Just like you would tell a dog who does a trick, good boy. Celebrate yourself by saying, wow, I'm proud of you. Like literally say it out loud or journal it. So many of us feel like we can't recognize ourselves until somebody else recognizes us, but that's literally giving all of your power away to other people, which is just a miserable existence. Definitely don't say anything negative about yourself out loud. And once you start getting in the habit of that, you can also start policing the thoughts that you have. And sometimes speaking the thoughts that you have within yourself to another trusted person, it could be a friend or it could be a therapist, you'll kind of see how insane it actually sounds. And I know I just said don't speak it out loud, but it's more like these are some of the things that I tend to believe about myself. It's a discussion. You're not affirming that belief. I love that quote that says, worry is worshiping the problem. And I also heard of this concept in Psychocybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. He talks about worrying positively. Why is it okay to think about everything that could go wrong, but imagining everything that could go right is somehow delusional? They're literally both equally delusional. So if you're gonna be delusional, why not think about the positive one? Literally running in your mind over and over and over and over and over again all of the amazing things that you are and who you've become and what you've done, and trying to stay away from only external accomplishments. Those things are great, but I really think the more beneficial things are your character, because we get enough validation from our accomplishments externally. But for me, it's stuff like, wow, you really didn't want to do that thing, but you did it anyways. Wow, you really put a piece of content out there and it didn't do very well, but you're focused on output over outcome, and I'm proud of you for doing that. And a really advanced skill is loving yourself in your flop era. If you can repeat, I love and accept myself, even when I make mistakes, even when I know that I have flaws, even though I know that I mess up, I will make a repair with myself. I will acknowledge what I did wrong, and I will take actions to make it right, just like I would do with another person. And that's what love looks like in action. One exercise that I think is really helpful is to literally write a script of all of the things that you wish you could say about yourself. I'm so thankful that I'm so healthy. I love the body that I'm in. When I look in the mirror, I love what I see. I'm so capable and powerful. I've created an incredible business for myself. I feel rich and wealthy and successful. I attract like-minded friends who inspire me and who care for me and who are supportive and smart and wise. And literally, just saying all of those things out loud changes something. It's literally rewiring your brain. And it's okay if it feels fake at first. People are so concerned with things feeling fake. Of course it's going to feel fake. If you're not who you want to be yet, it's going to feel uncomfortable. Tolerating that discomfort and doing it anyways is the pathway to actually becoming that person that you want to be. I've been loving the phrase, I'm so proud of you, and also you're brilliant, and also you're astonishing. The more that I say that to myself, the more people actually say that to me. Another thing you want to be aware of is noticing how you critique others. This one is a little tricky because it's not necessarily a one-to-one, like whatever you critique another person of, you have that exact same thing. It requires maybe a little bit more discernment and self-reflection, but usually our critique of another person is reflective of something about us. The second part of learning to tolerate and like yourself and eventually love yourself is actually acting and behaving like the person that you want to become. The quickest way to experiencing this is by developing the muscle of doing things that you don't want to do. You can do this in small ways. For me, it's budgeting. Every single Sunday, I budget. I track every single penny, and I never want to do it, but I do it anyways. And I've been doing it for, like 8 months or so. And I'm really proud of myself for doing that. And I'm proud of myself that it's just a habit that I automatically do, even though every single time I don't want to do it. But I'm becoming someone who I respect through my actions, my behaviors, and my habits. At first, when you're learning to like yourself, there's really not going to be much evidence. So you have to build evidence. You don't have to wait until you have an undeniable pile of evidence to start to like yourself. You can start in small ways, but that's going to make it a lot easier. So it's both. It's accepting where you're at while also creating enough evidence to where it's actually going to be easy to respect yourself and easy to love yourself because you're literally the kind of person that you want to be. Whenever I start to feel stuck, like, I'm just feeling bad about myself right now, I pause and think, what would my boyfriend say to me in this moment? What would someone who thinks of me as the love of his life, I can do no wrong, I'm just showered in love, he accepts me at every part of me, what would he do for me? What would he say to me? If I'm having a hard time, would he encourage me to get up and take a walk? Would he say, let's go to the gym together? I know that always makes you feel better. Why don't I do the dishes for you? I'm gonna go out and buy you some flowers. Let's get up. Let's go to a nice dinner. Whatever I think that he would do for me, I can just do that for myself. Like, really actually think about it. Would he write me a love note? I can write myself a love note. Would he buy me something? I could buy myself something. My last tip is to not necessarily cut people off. That can be something that you do, but I personally think that you don't always have to cut people off. But disengaging or orbiting away from anyone in your life who reaffirms identities that you no longer want to be associated with. If you're in a place where you want to step into your power, you don't want to hang around people who always make you feel disempowered. And that's your choice. You can choose to not hang out with them anymore. Even if they're family, even if you've known them your whole life, you get to choose. And it's okay to disappoint people so that you don't disappoint yourself. And honestly, I've personally never had to cut people off. As my self-concept improves, people drop off. People just don't want to hang out with me anymore, because if I'm no longer the person who they see me as, and that person is the person who serves them, they are not really going to like it. And they're just going to kind of float away or cut me off. And that's okay. This has happened to me a few times, and sometimes I'm like, okay, whatever. And then sometimes I'm like, oh wow, that actually kind of hurts a little bit. But if I really think about it, do I want to be like that person who no longer engages with me? The answer is always no. It's literally always no. I'm like, oh, I've just known them my whole life. I don't actually want to be like them. Or maybe they're still a great person, but I could just definitely see how we're going in different directions. So really be aware of your circle and which identities they're reaffirming, and don't be afraid to step away. That is an act of self-love. So where are you on the spectrum? Self-loathing, self-tolerating, which is an important part, self-like, and self-love. Jumping from self-loathing to self-love is just too big of a gap. But if you can just start to tolerate who you are while you're building evidence, that is progress, and celebrate that progress. When you celebrate your progress, you literally get there faster. When you shame yourself for not being where you want to be, you slow yourself down. That's Chad speaking. If anything stood out to you in this video, let me know in the comments. I would love to know. Or if there's anything that you feel like you do, or any quotes that you've come across that have been helpful, also let me know. Because I'm always trying to improve my self-concept and trying to love myself even more. And also, when you leave a comment, other people might see that comment too and be inspired as well. Love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.